This whole site, the one you're looking at right now, came from one prompt. You get a professional, ready to launch website in minutes, no templates, no dragging blocks around. And I'm giving you the exact prompt pack, completely free, just copy paste, done. So I'll show you the exact prompt. We'll build one live and I'll hand you the pack for your own niche. Let's jump in. Step one is the prompt itself. And this is the part everyone gets wrong. Most people type, build me a website, and get back something generic, a stock template with your name pasted on top, the same 3-column layout you've seen 100 times. That's not what we're doing today. 4 things in your one prompt, and if you miss any of these 4, the output gets vague. First, the niche, not a business, but the specific kind of business, because the design language for a photographer is nothing like the design language for a dentist. Second, the sections you actually need. Don't make the model guess your sitemap. Hand it the list. Third, the tone in 3 or 4 words: moody, minimal, playful, corporate, whatever it actually is. Fourth, one visual reference point, a single sentence describing the vibe, like dark background, one accent color. So the model has a North Star instead of picking blind. Watch what I actually type here. I'm telling Fable 5 exactly who this site is for, a freelance photographer, exactly what pages it needs: home, portfolio, about, and contact, and exactly how it should feel: moody and minimal, dark background, one warm accent color. That's the whole prompt. One paragraph, no wireframe, no Figma file, no creative brief. You're not describing a website, you're describing a person's business in one breath. And Fable 5 fills in every design decision from there. Before we build, let me save you the 2 mistakes I made the first few times I tried this, because they're the reason most people give up on one prompt building and go back to templates. Mistake 1, being too vague. Build me a nice photography website gives the model almost nothing to grab onto, so it defaults to the most generic possible layout. You get exactly what you'd expect from a vague brief, which is a boring result. Mistake 2, and this one's counterintuitive, being too specific. You try to specify every pixel, exact hex codes, exact font sizes, exact spacing. You're doing the model's job worse than it would do it itself, and you end up fighting it instead of directing it. The sweet spot is specific about WHO and what, loose about how. Tell it the niche, the pages, the tone, and one reference point, then let it make the actual design decisions. That's the difference between a brief and a straitjacket, and it's the single biggest lever in how good your one prompt result turns out. Now watch it actually build, because this is happening in real time and I'm not cutting around anything. Second I hit enter, Fable 5 starts laying out a full page structure, header first, then a hero section, then it opens a grid component for the portfolio, then a contact form with real working input fields, not placeholder boxes. Watching it write actual code here, not sketch a mockup. This is a live, functioning site assembling itself section by section in front of you. Notice something it's doing that I never asked for. It already picked a serif headline font that matches moody and minimal without me naming a single font. It shows a near black background and one warm gold accent. Again, never specified. It's inferring taste from 4 sentences, the same way a real designer reads a brief and fills in the gaps with judgment. Around the 90-second mark, the whole page is live and rendering. That's the part that gets me every single time I do this. 90 seconds, 1 paragraph, and you're looking at a site a freelancer would normally pay $200 or $300 for. Tour the result together, because this is the actual proof, not a screenshot. Scroll with me from the top. The hero section has a full bleed photo and a headline that reads like real copy a photographer would write, not lorem ipsum filler text. Scrolling into the portfolio grid, every thumbnail loads clean. The hover states are already animated. Nothing feels janky or half finished. Drop down into the about section and it's pulled a real professional bio structure, background, specialties, then a clear call to action into the contact form. And that contact form isn't decoration sitting there for show. It's wired up and functional right now, this second. This isn't a static image of a website you'd have to hand off to a developer to finish. It's a real deployable site sitting on a real URL, and you could hand this exact link to a client today and they'd never know it took 90 seconds. Here's where this gets useful for you specifically, because a photographer's site isn't the only thing this approach does. And I want to prove that, not just claim it. So I ran the exact same process 2 more times, changing nothing except the 1 paragraph brief, specifically to show you this isn't a fluke result I got lucky with once. Second build, an e-commerce store for a small skincare brand. Same 4-part prompt, niche, sections, tone, 1 reference line. Watch how differently it renders compared to the photographer's site. A product grid instead of a portfolio wall, an add to cart flow that actually functions, a checkout page laid out correctly on the very first pass, no back and forth needed. Third build, a local plumbing business about as far from a skincare brand as you can get. Completely different visual language again, bold, high contrast, oversized call buttons, because plumbing customers are calling from their phone in an emergency, a clear services list, a booking section front and center, 3 totally different businesses, 3 totally different design languages, and every single one of them came out of 1 prompt that took me under a minute to type. That's the real claim here. And it's an important distinction. It's not that Fable 5 can build a website, it's that it can build your website, whatever shape that needs to take, as long as you can tell it clearly who it's for. So here's the pack I promised you. I took the exact 4-part structure behind all 3 of these builds, the photographer, the skincare store, the plumber, and turned it into a copy-paste template you can adapt to any niche of your own in about 30 seconds. Open it up and you'll see it's just 4 fill-in-the-blank lines. Who the business is, what pages they specifically need, the tone in 3 words, and 1 line describing the visual vibe you're going for. Swap those 4 lines out for your own business or a client's business if you're doing this as a service. Paste the whole thing into Fable 5, and you're looking at your own version of exactly what you just watched me build 3 times. I'm not gatekeeping this behind an email sign up or an upsell. It's in the description right now, completely free. Grab it. One objection I know is coming because I had it myself before I tested this properly. Doesn't every AI built site end up looking the same? That was true a year ago. Same hero layout, same rounded card grid, same gradient blob in the corner, spot one from a mile away. What's different here is that the tone line in your prompt is doing more work than it looks like. Moody and minimal and bold and high contrast don't just change the color palette, they change the actual structure the model reaches for. Different fonts, different spacing, different component choices entirely. You saw that across the 3 builds. A portfolio grid, a product grid, and a big button service list are not the same skeleton wearing different colors. They're genuinely different layouts. The sameness problem was never really about the tool. It was about people typing the same lazy 1-line prompt and getting the same lazy 1-line result back. Thinking about turning this into an actual service, building sites like this for local businesses who don't have one or whose current site looks like it's from 2012. This is genuinely one of the fastest ways to start doing that right now today. You're not writing code, you're not learning Webflow or Figma or any design tool with a learning curve. You're writing 1 paragraph and reviewing what comes back. The bottleneck isn't your design skill anymore, just how clearly you can describe a business in 4 sentences. And that's a skill you can build in an afternoon by doing exactly what I just did 3 times in this video. Let's talk about what this actually costs you, because free only means something if I show you the real numbers next to it. The prompt pack itself costs nothing. It's a text file. Fable 5 Access is whatever your existing plan already covers. So if you're already paying for it, 3 real websites cost you the 90 seconds each it took to type the brief and the 2 or 3 minutes each it took to generate. Compare that to hiring a freelance designer for a basic small business site. You're realistically looking at a few $100s and a week of back and forth revisions, even for something simple. Compare it to to a no-code builder subscription. Most of those charge a recurring monthly fee just to keep the site live, on top of the hours you spend dragging blocks around yourself. The honest math is this replaces the time cost almost entirely, and it replaces a meaningful chunk of the money cost, especially if you're building this for yourself rather than selling it. That's the real without the pain part of this video. Not that it's flashy, but that the two biggest objections, cost and time, both mostly disappear. So here's my honest verdict after building 3 of these back to back, no cherry picking, the best take. This is not going to replace a designer doing genuinely custom high-end brand work. There's still a ceiling on how far a one paragraph prompt can push something truly bespoke and one of a kind. But for the fast professional, I need a real site today use case, a freelancer, a local business owner, a quick landing page for a launch. This closes the gap between having an idea and having something live almost completely. Ago, this took a template, an afternoon of dragging blocks around, and a headache. Now it takes one paragraph and about 90 seconds, and you have the receipts, 3 different businesses, 3 real working sites, 1 video. If you want to start a business using AI agents, check out our community in the description down below, and check out this video where I show you how to turn this exact kind of one prompt build into a real service you can sell to local businesses. Click it on the screen right now.